Hi again, everyone. I'm olliemathews. This is Refuge from Narcissism, and this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's his request. Can you do a video on Elvis Presley being the Trojan horse for baby boomer degeneracy? Thanks. Sure. Well, I've talked about this. I've talked about this a lot in prior videos where, baby boomer culture and baby boomer music and baby boomer heroes and baby boomer media and baby boomer movies, okay, led to all this degeneracy. But there's a catalyst behind it, which is, cultural Marxism, communism. And I said this repeatedly. They had us. The communists had us at Joe McCarthy. When they were able to take out Joe McCarthy, they had us. Because what McCarthy said is communists had infiltrated your government, your music, your entertainment, your sports. If you could have fast forwarded the people that persecuted and went after McCarthy and took out McCarthy in the 50s and fast forwarded them and showed them the condition of the world and of this country in 2022, Joe McCarthy would already be on Mount Rushmore. There would already be a fifth bust up there, and it would have been his. Yeah, I've talked about how I've come full circle, where from being younger and being an adolescent and a young adult, where, everybody would make fun of the religious right and the Christian right and their slippery slope arguments. And I've said this too, a lot recently, is they're right. They ended up being right, the religious right. And I'm not saying go out there and start thumping Bibles and knocking on doors and going Jehovah's Witness and all that. I'm not. But to say that the culture hasn't been completely decimated and all of these warnings of the things they were telling you was a slippery slope have come true. As far as Elvis goes, I have this is another story I've told repeatedly. My mother was infatuated with Elvis Presley. I remember the day he died. My mother let out this wailing scream. I was like 4 years old. I was in the back. I was in the den, in the family room, off the back of the house, and I hear my mother like, "Oh my God," or "Oh no." It was like, it was different. It wasn't like my mother's normal rage out screams, like "you fuck." It would have been a motherfucker, fuck face, asshole, hey stupid, hey. So I knew it wasn't me. So I knew something else had gone on, that this was some kind of desperation wail. So that's why I went running in to see what was going on. Like, oh, good, she's distressed. I want to get in on some of this. And my mother, I run into the living room, and off the living room was I guess the old TV room that was turned into a plant room, which was just wall to wall windows. It's like 8 windows in this room. And it was a big opening where French doors used to be, but they had taken down the French doors. My parents' house was very nice. Is very nice. The house I grew up in. So in the mornings, in the afternoon, the sun would beam into this room, and it was a nice room. And there was this giant area rug, this giant blue area rug in there. That I remember me and my brother used to wrestle on. But she had thrown herself on the floor, wailing, "Oh, no, she'd been down there like for hours until my father had come home. Or was my father there? I don't remember if my father was outside or if he was at work, but he had come in the house at some point, and she was on that floor for hours wailing. My father's like, what is this? Like, Elvis died. It's like, that leaned right over. That fat drug addict, who gives a shit? And my father got down on the floor like, look, I'm a dead drug addict. Like just mocking her because it was just so over the top. And she wasn't the only one. There was her friends like that. There were people all over like that. All over the place. Acting like that. And my mother's like, I loved him. I loved him as a kid. And she's like, and then my father would come, and that's where she started yelling. That's right. And my father would tell me it was the devil's music and it was immoral and I didn't care. We don't care. It's like this boomer defiance, which is really where I'm like, oh, you really think high? And I'm 4 years old. I'm like, you really think highly of this? And as a child, I mean, I thought Elvis was stupid. I knew him in those friggin' polyester goddamn jumpsuits with all the bedazzled glitter and running around all fat. Like, this is what you're crying over. This is what you're all upset about. He wasn't the only one. It was the entire culture had been taken over by Marxism. And it was fed to these boomers to then go and excuse all types of degeneracy, all types of sloth and laziness and selfishness, and putting it in your face and destroying every cultural norm, every moral norm they could possibly destroy that this country was founded on, that the civilized West was founded on and believed. You know, and look, and it's a hard take because I like popular music, I like hip hop, I like rock, I like metal, I like death metal, I like all types of music that obviously wouldn't be in where we are right now if it wasn't for people like Elvis Presley. So it's a double-edged sword. You got to take these things, and you got to take it with a grain of salt now. Because these things, modern music, by and large, is very damaging to society. It is very damaging to children. It is. To say it isn't, you're a hypocrite. But to say I'm never going to listen to it again, that's not realistic either. That's not going to happen. What I do notice happening, though, is these younger generations ignoring all the sex stuff, ignoring all the debauchery, because they're numb to it. It's not taboo anymore. It's not taboo. And that's what Elvis really did. He took away all those taboos. So what happens when you have no more cultural taboos, nothing? You just get bored, listless people. And and that's where we are right now. Okay, if you could just come out and say things and do things without being creative about it, okay, you lose your ability to write creatively. Anybody can go out and curse and be like, fuck this shit, like sex scenes, hardcore this, hardcore that, graphic lyrics, graphic content, graphic images. Okay. How long does that go for? How long can you do that for? This is why we're at a point now in entertainment where nothing is new. The music is all sampled and stolen from each other. The entertainment movies, you can't even make a comedy anymore. Any movies that are made are now remakes of older movies trying to reshape the demographics in it. I heard now, and I read that Scooby-Doo is being relaunched with Velma is a lesbian and Shaggy's now black. Okay. Okay. Can you come up with your own stuff? Anything. Can you come up with any of your own stuff? I mean, you got some, the only thing that it seems like that has any chance of new popularity are adult cartoons, but even those are getting played out. You take something like Rick and Morty. I like Rick and Morty, but when you watch it and you look at the underlying themes of it, it's pretty fucked up. And, you know, to the point I made on because I did that video on The Simpsons here. Understand something. Why The Simpsons and why South Park and Family Guy were so popular at first. What was the allure and why did people hate them at first? Because those shows all came out in the 90s. All came out in the late 90s. So that would make all the adults on those shows being portrayed as who? Who are they? Oh, they're boomers. They were making fun of boomers at the time. So what the boomers do then is they now are extending these shows so long. Now, the characters never age in these shows. So who are the adults now in these shows? Oh, they're all Gen Xers now. Same characters, but because they've been around so long and now you're bringing in these newer enters. Now it's all focused basically on now Gen X. But wait, that's not how this started. This all started, these people were being made fun of as boomers, and now they've extended these shows so long where they're not, they can't be boomers anymore. It's too old. It doesn't work. So they got to ride out these shows that originated with making fun of boomers and boomer culture, and they've ridden them. They're riding them out for as long as they can because creatively nothing new lasts. Even Rick and Morty, I mean, they only release new seasons like once every 3-4 years. It's pathetic. And a show like that, like even people now, like, what's with all the weird sex stuff? What's with all the incest stuff on these shows? Because that's what's going on here. And then you see some of these other stuff that is completely unwatchable. See, Elvis opened the door for all this, but at the end of the day, he also closed the door from all this. Because you can only take degeneracy and debauchery so far before it collapses your society, it collapses your entertainment, it collapses your creativity. Because without creativity, everything collapses. And that's the real shame of what people like, what Elvis did. And that's the effect of cultural Marxism, communism, is to destroy your culture from within. Take the things you cared about and loved and destroy them. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you, Anonymous, for your contribution and your request. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, or PayPal links and email in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care, everybody.